Disney gambles big on Robert Downey Jr. returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not as Iron Man, but as Doctor Doom. Will this gamble pay off? Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Airy. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications and consider becoming a channel member. Yes, I am calling this a billion-dollar gamble. Now remember, I am not an attorney, I am not an accountant, but I have worked on productions before, podcast productions, documentary productions, and I can tell you a lot goes into this. Now, why do I think it's going to be $1 billion for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars to make a profit? Simply put, it is the payout that the Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr. are getting to return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is according to piratesandprincesses.net. Russo brothers back because of Robert Downey Jr., and they are all getting paid millions. Marvel has just recently announced that Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers are returning to the MCU. However, sources have said that not only are they all getting enormous paydays, but RDJ is also responsible for Anthony and Joe Russo's return to Marvel. According to Variety, the return of the Russo brothers to direct the next two Avengers films was a condition of RDJ. Sources says Downey, who is repped by WME, agreed to return to the MCU if the Russos, who are CAA clients, would be directing. They were the only ones he would work with, says a source familiar with the deal making. How much did it cost Disney to bring them back? The Russo brothers are reportedly getting $80 million to direct the upcoming Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars films. With this $80 million payday, the brothers will get performance escalators at $750 million and $1 billion box office marks for each film. They also will produce two films with their own AGBO production company. Robert Downey Jr. said to make even more money, getting significantly more to play Doctor Doom in the two films. Disney needs these films to be hits. They're banking heavily on the upcoming Avengers films, hoping for the almost $5 billion box office Marvel saw with Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. They are paying out millions of dollars to bring in people that could help them right what went wrong with Phase 4 and Phase 5. Saving money elsewhere to offset costs. The upcoming films will be shot in London instead of Georgia to offset their expenses even more. Disney has been sending a lot of their films to the UK to take advantage of the huge rebates they give the studios in exchange for filming there. For example, the Marvels got a subsidy of $55 million under the Audiovisual Expenditure Credit, which can give back up to 25.5% of the money spent in the country. Disney is spending big money just trying to steer their Marvel ship away from the iceberg made by their decisions. Let's see if it works. And head over to piratesandprincesses.net to read more about this. Yes, especially with the failure that the upcoming Falcon spinoff movie is going to be, I think that they need $1 billion. Like I said, I have never worked for a feature film. I have worked behind the scenes for podcast productions as well as documentary productions. And I have seen just the cost of those smaller productions. And so imagine this, you're bringing back two directors who are going to get $40 million each, and even more if it crosses the $750 million line at the box office, and even more if it hits $1 billion. And with Robert Downey Jr. returning, he's getting paid even more. Now, there is something to be said about actors getting way too much money. This is ridiculous. I like Robert Downey Jr. He's one of my favorite actors, even though he did a terrible job producing the remake of Perry Mason. But he is one of my favorite actors. And I don't believe he deserves that amount of money. That's insane to me. He does not deserve the budget of a small country to put out cinematic art. I'm sorry, that's just not the way it should be. But it is, and that's fine. He has a great team, obviously, negotiating on his behalf. And I want to point out a couple of things before I get down. One of the reasons I think it needs to be $1 billion, because even with these rebates that the United Kingdom gives to the entertainment industry, not their own citizens, but to the entertainment industry, I still think the production cost for this is going to be high. I mean, for some reason in the United States, we don't want to scale back our VFX budget, unlike what they did with Godzilla Minus One, right? From Japan. They decreased the budget. They only had, I think they had less than 2 dozen VFX artists work on the production. But here, sometimes the rooms can be filled with over 50 artists, and it makes no sense to me that it's that high. And Godzilla Minus One was way better than, say, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania as far as CGI goes. Now, how will this work with the Falcon spinoff movie? I don't think it is. Now, according to Anthony Mackie, he says that his spinoff film is going to be set the new tone for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Apparently, they're going to just kind of ignore the events of Secret Invasion, because I remember a lot of people were mad because the showrunner behind Secret Invasion said that Rhodey has been replaced by an alien, a shape-shifting alien, ever since Civil War. Well, that makes no sense, because in Avengers Infinity War and in Endgame, we see Rhodey get injured and bleed. These aliens bleed green blood. Rhodey's was red. So it doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. Harrison Ford is, of course, going to be the new president going forward. So I don't think that Secret Invasion is going to matter in the long run. I think everyone's just going to forget that it exists, especially with it seeming like the Armor Wars, Ironheart are all up in the air. So I have to be honest, though, while I'm excited to hear Robert Downey Jr. is returning, I honestly think that this is going to be another attempt by Marvel to try to ruin one of their iconic characters just for the sake of woke talking points. Now, the Russo brothers are actually good directors, so maybe that won't happen. Maybe I'm wrong and they'll actually find a way to do it. Because in the past, Tony Stark at one time was possessed by an armor called the Superior Iron Man armor. It was a silver one that you've seen. If I am not mistaken, I believe he used the Venom symbiote to help develop it, which is why it slowly took him and made him evil. Now, they could be doing something like that. There also is a storyline where Doctor Doom, he's actually done this a couple times, where he switches his mind out with Tony Stark, and he becomes Tony Stark for a while, and he has Tony Stark trapped in his body. Now, he also did this with Mr. Fantastic. I don't think that it's going to be Robert Downey Jr. just getting a recast as Doctor Doom. I honestly believe that's going to be an evil Tony Stark, and I'm disappointed in that. I'm not opposed to like a darker Tony Stark who might want revenge, because I've heard rumors that after Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, when Wanda goes into that alternate reality and she kills the Illuminati, I've heard rumors that, because there was an empty seat with the Illuminati there, that was going to be Tony Stark from that universe. And when all of his friends are dead, he's going to come back for revenge to the main MCU universe. And I think that could be possible. How that's going to work, I don't know. That being said, I could be wrong. Maybe they are just recasting him. He's just going to be Doctor Doom. I don't know why they do that. To me, Doctor Doom needs to be someone who's like the size of a wrestler, like a John Cena type guy, but then voiced by someone like Jeremy Irons or James Earl Jones. That makes more sense to me if they did that. But that's just my opinion on Doctor Doom. So far, no one outside of animation has been able to get Doctor Doom correct as far as presenting him. I didn't even think the Roger Corman version of Doctor Doom, although that version is better than the ones we got later. All that to say, I think that this movie, the Avengers Doomsday and the Avengers Secret Wars, they both need to make at least $1 billion. And this is $1 billion gamble that Disney is performing to save the MCU. Will it work? We'll say those movies are good and they make $1 billion. I don't trust Kevin Feige or Bob Iger, so the head of Marvel Studios and the CEO of Disney respectively, to handle the success. We're already seeing problems with the success of Deadpool and Wolverine. How are the X-Men going to be introduced into the MCU proper going forward? It makes no sense how they're going to do it. I just don't think they're going to learn the right lessons. These studios never do. We saw this problem with the Snyderverse. We're seeing it now with the Gunverse, and I just don't have the confidence in Disney to make these right decisions. I think that whatever they decide to do, it's going to be a disaster. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, tell them that you liked it. Also subscribe. Be sure to ring that little bell if you're watching on YouTube so you get notifications whenever I post a new video. Also consider becoming a channel member where you get all kinds of exclusive perks. If you don't want to support me on Big Tech because you're watching elsewhere or even here on YouTube, click on the links to my locals community. You can support me monthly or you can give me tips. Also, consider buying my new novel, Blessed Child. I really appreciate it. When you support indie authors like myself, it really goes a long way. Head on over to Amazon where you can purchase it and all my other books. It really means a lot to me. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die.